Mia Mason. I'm running for Congress here on Maryland's Eastern Shore. One of the biggest concerns and issues that we have is our traffic, our education, our health care, and our civil rights that are being taken away by our representative that is currently in office, and I seek to change that as an LGBT candidate. I'm Mia Mason. I'm running for Congress here on Maryland's Eastern Shore. One of the biggest concerns and issues that we have. Well, good evening, everybody. I am Mia Mason. I'm a congressional candidate here in Maryland District 1, looking to get your support here throughout the entire district. We're part of a coalition called No Dem Left Behind. One of the biggest and best things that you can do is give us the support that we need to make sure that we get through the primary, which is coming up here on June 2nd. Many of us have just now gotten our ballots. It's super important that we get that done so that we can make sure that you send it back. The most important thing that you need to do when doing your ballot this year is reading all the instructions, signing it, and then dropping it off in your ballot or mailing it back. It's already got a stamp and everything on it, so it's easy to do. You just put it back in the box. So far, we've seen a huge increase compared to 2018 of people who have actually voted on both sides. So thank you for the support. We're going to see who wins. We're going to start putting big numbers out on Thursday, asking for the big donations to make sure that we get all the way to the Journal to unseat Representative Andy Harris. So with that, it's part of our coalition to make sure that when our next event is coming up. We missed out on last Thursday and this coming up Thursday, but we're going to be working with a DemCast partner called Nick. He's going to be joining us next Thursday, right, in the middle of our primary voting, And he'll be supporting all of our coalition candidates, plus the 3 that we've added here in the coalition No Dem Left Behind. So if you can, join us. It'll make the big difference all along the way. But we want to talk a little bit about what's going on. So when we get back, we will be talking with Kendra Holmes, a good friend of mine, and we will be talking to you very soon.
All right.
Well, good evening, everybody. As you see, we have Karen here, and we're going to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing really good. Just been busy, especially being 100% teleworking, so that's been really good so far. And I'm very fortunate and blessed that I'm able to do that and still have a job. So things are going really good. Just finished getting off another conference call with my chief of staff, one of the colonels for the United States Veterans Reserve Corps. We had to do last Saturday. We did a virtual drill, so that was really interesting. That was our first time doing it. So now we're just trying to tweak it, make it a little bit better. But mostly it was for a training for SARS, which is search and rescue, and we did it with pretty much all of our regiments throughout the country.
Okay. Yeah, I remember for about a year and a half while I was waiting to get back into the DC National Guard, most of mine was virtual. It wasn't because of a pandemic or anything. It was just because I was stuck in between 2 sets of policies. But luckily I got in and I was able to retire. So, with what you're doing right now, all this volunteer work, do you think with these ease of restrictions, will it get easier for you at all?
Right now, it hasn't been. I mean, this, work is work. Right now I'm doing like at least 1 day a week with Manna food distribution at their warehouse. So we're packing up food for people, other organizations to pick up, and then they distribute it to their clients at their location. So that's been interesting. I mean, everybody that's working in a warehouse has to wear gloves, has to wear masks to keep each other safe and sound. So tough thing about it, I think, for me is there's a lot of food that we're packing in boxes as well as bags for these people, and the food that we're getting that's being donated to us, we're talking about very large food items such as carrots. I've never seen a carrot probably like 6 inches long and about 2, maybe 2.5 diameters, and I'm like, wow, I've never seen this, but there's pretty big.
Industrial sized carrots, huh?
Yeah. So hopefully people will be very happy when they're eating those because we're giving them at least 3 of those carrots, and then of course a lot of other stuff too.
Wow. So I know that our National Guard has been doing kind of the same thing, sending out supplies even out to the Eastern Shore to help out the ministries out there. And hopefully I get, a good reverend to come back on our show next week to talk about what's been going on with her flock of folks. But, with everything that's been going on, you've given the community what they need to feed themselves. And if they go out there and they're not doing the right social distancing protocols and everything else, do you think there might be a second wave coming between Memorial Day and 4th of July if people just, don't follow the rules?
Yeah, I mean, it's very serious. Even though they're doing this in phases to open up stuff, we definitely still need to do that social distancing without a doubt. And I think this thing's changing daily, and we don't know really what the heck is going on. I'm not a professional in this, but hearing the information that keeps coming across the media, you just can't trust anything. You just have to, go on your survival skills and just say, hey, look, I'm just doing this to protect me and my family. I'm not going to be, listening to all the different aspects of what's going on. It's just like, okay, this person's telling some good information. Oh, now it's changing to this. So, let's just do it across the board.
Yeah. And now that we've seen what's going on with everything that's going on, we've seen a lot of Vox and Vice, and now this news about people who have completely disregarded in places like Texas, where those numbers have just tripled or quadrupled. And they've also talked about, what's going on with people like me right now who are running for the House of Representatives. There's so many women running for office right now. I mean, are you surprised at this at all, about how many people are trying to get rid of Trump and other seats in the House?
I think it's a great thing. I mean, my whole biggest thing for years has been women can do anything. And as long as, we're getting out there and we're trying to get a voice in and take that leadership role, I think it's going to be great for this country, get it from a different perspective, a little more softer approach, I think. But yeah, I think it's great to see that we're finally standing up for what's also that we can do and not have to take this sit back approach, but at least get out there, because we've got some great female leaders out there. Let's give us a chance to do something out there. That's one thing I love about the fact of, when I first joined the Maryland Defense Force, I made it a fact that I was a good leader, and even doing my early entry training, I got the leadership award for our group for that training period. So yeah, give us the chance. We can prove ourselves. We can do what you think we can't do. We just need to speak up and start getting out there.
Okay, so how can more women join you in the community to help out?
Our community, as far as the volunteer stuff?
Yes.
That's interesting that you asked that question, because I think in the volunteer community, more women are volunteering than men are. I've seen that through even my full-time job, which oversees AmeriCorps. And a lot of times whenever I used to go to conferences, that probably a good, and I'll be generous when I say 80% of it is women. It could be a lot more. And so I think volunteering is just something that's in the nature of women to nurture, to take care of. Where guys are not really like that, I feel.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time with me, Kendra. I know that you probably have questions for me, but we'll get to those as soon as we get back.
All right.
I'm Mia Mason. I'm running for Congress here on Maryland's Eastern Shore. One of the biggest concerns and issues that we have is our traffic, our education, our health care, and our civil rights that are being taken away by our representative that is currently in office, and I seek to change that as an LGBT candidate. Welcome back, everybody. I am Mia Mason. Now it's time for round 2 with our host, Karen. She's going to be asking me her questions to me tonight. So take the lead.
Alrighty. So, what position are you actually running for in Maryland?
Well, it's not a House or state delegate position in Maryland. It is actually a federal House of Representatives for Maryland District 1.
Okay. And before I ask you the other questions, what details do you have to oversee or do while in that position?
Well, there's many different positions available through the committee. We're mainly there to represent the people of Maryland District 1 for their issues and concerns that are needed at the federal level, from environmental to education, down to commerce, the bills, the resources, you name it. There's a committee for it, and normally we're selected or we can handpick depending on what our skill sets are for those committees.
Okay. And why are you running?
I am running to make sure that our communities no longer are divided. I'm looking to restore the equity and equality. We've seen somebody who for the last 10, 20 years have voted against our women, our veterans. He voted against the HEROES Act, initially voted against the CARES Act, and changed his mind. And now he's changed his mind about abortion, and he's been gung-ho about it all along. So when it comes down to taking care of us in the community, he's there to be buddy-buddy, and we're not like that. So we want to make sure that our communities, are of value to us, to make sure that their voices are heard, they're listened to, and their stories matter because it's their land, it's their legacy, and that's why they're voting. And we're glad that they're voting by mail this year.
Now, what would you consider out of all of those things to be the most important thing that you would like to see changed that you did?
Well, a lot are stuck in the Supreme Court right now. I think right now the first thing that comes to matter with this whole pandemic is our health care, making sure that it's affordable, make sure that it actually stays there, so that you're not paying completely out of pocket for every service that you might need, from x-ray to getting a lab done to just seeing the doctor as soon as you walk in. You shouldn't have a bill as soon as you walk into the OR or the ER to get seen.
Okay. How long does the term last for?
It lasts for 2 years. If sworn in, that will happen on January 5th, 2021. Then it will last till 2023. And then, of course, we have a re-election during that time. Once elected and then re-elected.
Okay. So do you have really tough competition that you feel for that's running for the same position?
Yeah, I'm running up against an incumbent in a very red district, but a long time ago this district used to be blue. It used to be Democratic. The values have changed, but we're getting that momentum back. We're bringing back the voters who are our base and telling them exactly who we are, what matters to them, and we're here to represent them. So we're 50-50. We're going to be neck and neck with our Representative Harris and let him know exactly where we stand on the issues, clear down to the line of why they're voting for us against him, and if they want to keep him, they're going to continue losing their businesses, their land, their homes, their education, their communities. And that's just not right for any community throughout any state in Maryland. It will make a difference once we get in office and make the changes that we have to, especially when we also elect presidents like Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I wish you the very best. I know that not only you getting out there and campaigning like crazy to make a change and make a difference in your district, you're just gonna, I feel you're gonna soar. I mean, like I said, strong women make strong leaders, and you're definitely one of them.
Yeah, a lot of strong work went into this. A lot of research went into this prior, after I completed the Senate race, and it didn't do too well, so I had a lot of lessons learned. But from the mentors and the coaches that I was with, they told me the best thing that you can do is just make sure that you reflect exactly who is behind that door in that household when you go to DC to represent them, even if it's a state issue and you have to go to Annapolis and lobby for them directly, especially if it's a state issue and you can't help them on the federal side.
Okay. Are you getting any kind of mentoring from somebody who can give you some good advice, who's already been elected in other states or districts, that are women?
Not really. We've had a couple good hosts that came on and we've talked to them. But as far as we've seen more men help us, they want to be able to make sure that we are just as successful as our women. A lot of women are super donating, super volunteers, super charitable and everything else and want to see us lead. But we also know that we have to go up against a big stigma, and that can set back a lot of emotions and a lot of, thoughts of why I should run or if I should even try to run, especially when you're facing a man who has been in office as long as Representative Harris.
What do you feel is your biggest and your strongest issue possibly winning?
Well, I think the biggest thing that we have going for us is that we're a veteran, we're a woman, we're young, we've got 20 years of young age on him, so that we can continue serving our community for the next 20 years if need be to make sure that they're represented through the next decade. That's the most important thing. And it doesn't even have to be that I'm LGBT or anything else. That's a non-issue. We've known that since I was in the military. This is why we have equality and zero tolerance there. And there isn't that in the elected offices or federal offices either. So we should be electable.
Okay, yeah. Great. Well, just for your viewers, I know you just recently retired last year. And I know you're very happy about that, but what rank were you when you left? So that way we all know.
Oh, I was able to retire as a sergeant. A lot of discrimination happened, but you fight uphill. You fight to represent others, especially if it's wrong or right, and no matter how difficult it is, you work with your commander and do the best job that you have. So yes, I could be a chief if I stayed in the Navy. I could have been an officer if I had a better GT score. But, when it came down to getting the job done and being in combat and bringing back people home alive, that was more vital. That was more precious to make sure that everybody got off that plane and saw their families without being hurt or injured.
Well, that's great. And being at your rank that you were at when you retired, that goes to show that you do have a lot of leadership skills as it is. So, I just say, hey, they need to vote for you. So people listening, get out there and vote.
Thank you. Well, thank you for also hosting us tonight. It's a pleasure taking your questions. What's your website and how can people get a hold of you on social media?
My website is kkholmes.com, and if anybody needs to get a hold of me personally to ask me anything or whatever, that's going to be kkholmes at kkholmes.com.
Well, that's easy enough for all of us. So yeah. With that, have a great night. We're looking forward to seeing you past June if we actually win the primary. So stick with us. We got this Thursday coming up. And we'll be right back in a couple of minutes, okay?
All right.
I'm Mia Mason. I'm running for Congress here on Maryland's Eastern Shore. One of the biggest concerns and issues that we have is our traffic, our education, our health care, and our civil rights that are being taken away by our representative that is currently in office, and I seek to change that as an LGBT candidate. I'm Mia Mason. I'm running for Congress here on Maryland's Eastern Shore. One of the biggest concerns and issues that we have is our traffic, our education, our health care, and our civil rights that are being taken away by our representative that is currently in office, and I seek to change that as an LGBT candidate. Well, welcome back everybody. It was amazing to have a great friend here. It makes a big difference when we bring all of our advocates, our veterans, our friends in, because it represents our community. No matter where they're at in Maryland, they're here to support you from the ground, the air, the sea, the shores, and that's how we take care of everything. And to highlight this, it came in my little news feed today that down there on the Eastern Shore, that the lower shore Progressive Caucus has actually completed their voting and they have endorsed me, and I thank them for their support. And also with Moms Demand Action, I am their gun sense candidate. We will make sure that we bring that perspective into sensible gun control, because they're working down there to basically talk about 2A sanctuary. And the NAACP is fighting against this, and so is the Lower Shore and Moms. And sensible gun control is very simple. And I want to make sure that a signature piece of legislation happens, so that no matter what age you are, your driver's license or ID card, you're able to make sure that you are trained on your weapon. And eventually, if it passes the House and the Senate and gets signed by a good president, we can actually make sure that you can take your weapons and make sure that you go across state lines with it. It is something simple that is easy as a business transaction. The background checks are thorough before you even get any type of ammunition or weapon into your possession. And we know that you're fully trained. And this is all done by your local DMV, so that your information is done securely through the state and federal systems and not like a title shop. So we're going to help make that change happen, because we can't have like every little bill out there for every little city to be a 2A sanctuary, because when it comes to these rallies like Representative Harris went to, you didn't need to have weapons there. There weren't weapons there. But if they felt like it was a sanctuary city, then yes, you're going to have all of your armed weapons there and be buffooneries, just like the people who stormed the Capitol of Michigan. That's not tolerable. That is hatred. That's privilege. That is, your show of power. And that is wrong. When you are doing something democratically, or for democracy, you go out there and you use your voice, you use your sign, you sign a petition, you get things done for our community, you make that legislation action happen. You don't show up with a weapon. It's nonsense. So be safe out there, be smart. Wear your gloves, wear your mask, do the right thing. Because when it comes down to it, you're mailing your ballot back to vote for a candidate that makes good sense in what they do. Not somebody out there just spewing their religious beliefs on everybody and discriminating against everybody else. So we are also making sure that we protect the Bay. It is an environmental issue. And in fact, it is gaining Supreme Court spotlight because Virginia, DC, and Maryland have sued the EPA. It is super important that we continue to stay on track with a 2025 goal line to clean up our bay. This arrangement, this agreement, was made back in 2009. And the Trump administration, since they took office, has came against everybody of their nation of origin, their color, their creed, their sex. It didn't matter. And they're coming after our environment too, and they're rubber stamping everything. And we have to protect our bay. We have to protect our fisheries. We have to protect our crabs out there. We have to protect our oysters. And when it comes to big projects like the Bay Bridge and everything else and windmill projects, we want to see those accomplished. But we also want to make sure that they're environmentally sound. So if you haven't signed up for a bird tour, they're completely booked. So get yourself on a waiting list. Go out there to Popular Iron and enjoy it. It is a sight to behold. I was able to go during the early spring before this whole pandemic happened, but it's a beautiful place. It shouldn't be destroyed with a highway there to go into Salisbury. Now, one of the best things I can tell you is that this Saturday, we're going to be having a Democratic Forum, all right, down there in Wacomico and Worcester. Okay, it's going to be online, so if you're down in that area, the lower shore, that includes you in Dorchester as well. We're not forgetting about you. Come on over, hop online. Got a link in the description. It is this Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Super easy. We got a link in there. You can register, get signed up, all of that wonderful things, and watch us. We're going to be doing a 10-minute spew, just like we normally do 30 minutes here, but we're going to shorten it up, make it 10 minutes. And then we're going to take the time and do all the questions and answers for me and Jennifer so that you can pick the best candidate to go up against Representative Harris here in 14 days. 14 days. So the last thing I can say is if you're not registered to vote, you need to. Request that ballot. Got my ballot today. I'm going to mail it back tomorrow. But the thing is you can also drop it off. We've posted everywhere that is in your county of where you can drop it off, but you can mail it back. Make sure that your registration is updated. You have till next Wednesday to complete it. All right? So with that, y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining us. And remember, donate. It's the best thing that you can do. Go to miadmason.us, click on donate and contribute. $10, $20 goes a big difference. $35 sends us postage, all right? $100 will probably get us signs with Joe Biden and us so that we can put them on Route 50, 301, I-95, Pulaski Highway, and each of the main streets in every county. So let's get this campaign rolling. Let's get it brewing a fresh pot of coffee on the midnight hour. And let's keep fast tracking exactly what needs to be done for us in the county, the state, and the nation from your local community. And tonight, it's always being done virtually because guess what? We're making sure that we're safe. You know, Sarah says it doesn't look normal, but I wear it. You wear it too. Stay safe this summer. Have a great night. I'm Ian Mason. I'm running for Congress. Our voters are at the helm in 2020 because our education has failed us. Our infrastructure has failed us. If you're driving force, we can fix that, especially in our healthcare, because your vote actually matters and you have the choice in 2020. I'm Ian Mason and I approve this message.